Matt Brash has been cleared to throw. Julio is prioritizing himself. And Jerry DePoto says Ty France could play third. Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show, where we love Seattle Pro Sports. I'm your host, Mikey. And today we got to start this one talking about Matt Brash and how he has been cleared to throw this coming Tuesday. So we last time we talked, they had shut Matt Brash down due to an arm injury. And again, Scott Service was being very secretive about that, just saying that it was an arm injury and wouldn't give us any more. But we did know that it needed to be looked at, so it sounded like it could be quite serious and that he would be missing sometime. Potentially, we were hearing could be the entire season. Well, he has since had an MRI and been checked out, and the doctor said he had medial elbow inflammation. He can start playing catch again this coming Tuesday. And the doctor said and opted for no surgery at this point. So that is good news. We all know how this goes. This is far from over. This is a pitcher having arm issues. This can flare up and get worse again at any time. So now I am very concerned. I am very glad that Matt Brash at this point doesn't have something worse and can start throwing again. And I am, as a Mariners fan, just being very hopeful that that's going to be the case. He's going to be healthy and ready to go once this elbow inflammation goes away. And then he'll make it through the rest of the season. But you know, this is how arms for pitchers go. It could be okay for now, and then it can just suddenly flare up, and there he goes for the season. So we're gonna keep a close eye on this and see how it goes. I mean, he's probably gonna miss some of the beginning of the season anyways, right? I mean, at this point, we are 3.5 weeks away from the season opening. So I just, it feels like it's too close. It feels like he's going to have to start out the season on the injured list and hopefully not be gone too long. I mean, again, we are looking at a ridiculous bullpen with Munoz, Brash, Santos, Saucedo, Spire, Thornton, and Voth. I mean, that is just nasty, right? And if we can keep Matt Brash in there, then yeah, that's part of that being nasty. I mean, I still have all the confidence in the rest of the bullpen, and I have confidence in this organization that they can bring in another arm to fill the spot. But it's not, you know, I'll be hard pressed to believe that it's going to be the same level arm or perform the same way that Matt Brash has to this point. So, you know, hopefully this is just going to end up being, yeah, this issue that starts here, misses some of the beginning of the season, but can make it through the rest. We'll see, because we're really counting on the starting pitching and this bullpen to carry us through this season and get us to the playoffs. with that being said, I did hear an interview with Cal Raleigh talking about how, they're kind of, and I believe it was on 710, but he did talk about how he was like, yeah, we're kind of tired of, it being known that like, oh, this pitching staff is just, carrying us through, and they're getting us to where we are. The rest of the team, the lineup, the batters, they want to step it up and be known as part of the reason why they're getting to where they're going. But even with that sentiment out there, and even if they do better this year, we don't want to lose any of that amazing staff that we have in the pitching staff. That's why teams fear us, because of our pitching staff. Talking about interviews, Julio Rodriguez was on 710 as well, as they were down there for spring training this last week, and Julio was just again amazing in his interviews, talking about how he wants to play in a World Series and not watch one. Says the reason why he's able to stay on top of his game and be good is because the people that he works with and that he trusts, they're there for him in any down moments, but they're not yes men. So if he is going through a tough time, they'll let him know, hey, you're not doing good. You need to pick it up. So they're not there just to tell him, hey, don't worry about what anybody else is saying, and don't worry about your, what slump you're going through. You're going to be fine. No, they're telling him, and helping him through those situations, telling him to work on it, and letting him know, yeah, you do need to work on something, so that he doesn't just say in his own mind and doesn't let it get to him in his mind that because he's so great that he can just not have to work on improving. So that is great to hear. It's great to hear that he talked about him this year prioritizing himself and to focus on his work that he needs to do on the baseball field. We know last year All-Star Game was here in Seattle. Julio is a rising star. MLB, they would always have him all over his face, all over everything, right? They want him to be the face of the game because he is so much fun. He is great in interviews. He's just got this personality that fans can be drawn to, and not just in Seattle, but across baseball, right? So MLB wants to push him out there. Of course, the Mariners organization wants to push him out there, and there's always a lot of hands pushing him in the air and pulling him there. And he said that was a lot for him to deal with last year. So this year, he's kind of reining that all in, learning to say no, making sure he's focusing on himself and the work he needs to do to get better on the field. Because we talked about the other quote that he had recently, talking about how last year was a sophomore slump to him, even though he finished 4th in MVP voting. That was to him a sophomore slump, and he feels like he can be more consistent and be better. And that is what we want to see out of Julio. If we could see more consistent throughout the season, then yeah, we will be talking about him potentially winning MVP, and we will be talking about this team, getting into the playoffs. Because as good as our pitching staff is, we saw it with Felix, right? It doesn't matter how good they are. Even if they can go the whole game and hold them to only 1 run, if our offense doesn't score, it doesn't matter, right? So the way this offense is right now, it's still I feel like they made improvements this year over last year, but to me, my mindset is this team, it still goes as Julio goes. I feel like they do have some better help around him this year, but this team's going to go as far as Julio takes them offensively. Okay, so we need him to remain consistent throughout the year and not go through as much slumps as he did last year. Now, maybe this is going to help. He revealed that he talks, and we've seen him throwing catch with Ichiro a lot, but he apparently talks to Ichiro a lot, gets a lot of advice from Ichiro, and who better than Ichiro to give Julio advice for being a player at the star caliber that Julio is than Ichiro. There's nobody better to be getting advice from for Julio. So, I'm sure that, that can only help. And especially it seems like Julio is really willing to take on advice from management, coaching, current, former players, etc. So I think he can really soak it in from, all the great advice he's going to get from Ichiro and hopefully turn that into even more success. He did mention about the offensive coordinator that they have this year, and him thinking that's going to be a big help for this team. And I've heard that from quite a few players this year that the Mariners went out and hired offensive coordinator, they're calling it this year, and how they think that's going to help out the team because they just feel like they have they have like this whole different plan with Brant Brown really just explaining to them and getting in their mind and getting that mindset of like, hey, we don't always need to hit the bomb, we can just take what we need and really get that next man up. It sounds like everybody's kind of taking in his messages, and it's really connecting with them. So hopefully that is again something that we're going to see show up on the field. All right, and then let's talk about Jerry DiPoto's interview that he gave on 710 this week as well. Him just talking about the roster in general, saying how the depth sounds out in both the pitching and the batting lineup. And I have to agree, again, we all know the pitching's there, but the batting lineup to me this year, it does stand out because it is so much better than it was. I mean, getting Jorge Polanco, getting Mitch Garver, actually having a real designated hitter this year, that already is a big difference to me. And then Haniger's been looking good in spring training, Canzone's been looking good in spring training, and then we all know JB Crawford, Julio, Cal, all the regulars are going to be part of that lineup. So the core that we had plus the players are bringing in this year, I am feeling good about the depth, as he said, on both pitching and batting this year. Right now, he says he likes the situation at third base. I know this has been something in spring training that's not looked so great, right? Josh Rojas and Luis Urias platooning there, and yeah, it's not looking great. Now, Jerry DiPoto said that Ty France, we all know that he went to Driveline this offseason, did the work, saw him, saw him putting in the work there, adding the 3.5 miles per hour to his bat speed. But you can also see it in his physical appearance. He looks like he's slimmed down and looking, yeah, like he could be a little bit more athletic. And Jerry DePoto said, yeah, it's possible. We've seen him working out there during training, but if it ever came up, if he ever needed, maybe we could see him work over there at third base. Now, I don't think it's likely, but it's possible. And we'll see what the season brings and how bad we're going to need it. If all the platoon players that they brought in to play the position at third base this year, it does not end up working out. He also mentioned that Perry Hill always believed in Ty France as a third baseman as well. So, it sounds like there's people there that, believe that Ty France could do it and get it done if they needed. He also mentioned here that there is a group of prospects that they think they could see the major league time this year. Nobody's going to be making the 40-man roster to open the season, but there's a lot of names in the minor leagues that could be making their way up, that have been prospects coming up that just might see some time this year. And that'd be cool, right? I mean, I could see it. So we'll see how we'll see how that all works out. Lost my spot here. Where were we? Oh, the other thing he mentioned, again, Jerry DePoto mentioning Brant Brown, or the coordinator, saying that he's been able to communicate with each player individually about their plan and what to do. So again, communication being a key thing for coaching and the players, and hopefully that translating to on-field success. He says the response from the players has been really positive to Brant Brown's teachings. And again, just from what I've been hearing in interviews, that does sound to be the case. Everybody, even without being prompted, it seems like everybody is bringing up Brant Brown and his hitting philosophy and his approach. So sounds like that was a really good decision by the front office, the organization, to make that hire this year. So hopefully that's going to work out. And that is the update that I have for you on the Mariners. Let me know what you think. What do you think about the Matt Brash news? Were you relieved to hear that? I mean, again, like I said, initially I'm relieved, but still have a lot of worry in the back of my mind. Are you feeling that same way? Julio, prioritizing himself this year, wanting and feeling that hunger to get to a World Series. Let me know in the comments if you believe Julio can put up an MVP season this season. And yeah, that's going to be it. So thanks for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken. So take cover, because with a sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.